notorious and lethal Darien Gap route towards the United States. And they both join me now. Caitlin and Lindsay, thank you so much for taking the time. Caitlin, I'll start with you. This is an issue you've been covering for many, many years. I'm wondering what finally led you earlier this year to start making this trek yourself?
The numbers. I watched the Darien Gap, this area that was once thought to be completely impassable. Going back to the 1700s, other nations have tried to colonize this very, very dense jungle. As you said, it's the only way to walk north out of South America. And so prior to the year 2015, when we saw the first little spike, you would really only see a few hundred people attempt to brave this area each year. And it's completely changed. We're talking about more than 500,000 people who did this journey last year alone, and they're coming from all over the world. The largest number come from Venezuela, but you have representation from all over Africa, East and South Asia, and throughout Latin America. And as somebody who covers migration, it was just something that I could no longer ignore. I think the severity of the movement through this part of the world just highlights how significant the global migration crisis has become, how desperate people all over the world have become to take this journey. And so it was something that I felt I had to see for myself.
And I want to get to you, Lindsay, in terms of what you actually saw and the migrants that you met and encountered along this grueling journey. But Caitlin, just on the issue and this delicate balance that numerous administrations time and time again have had to make in terms of deciphering those who are leaving for safety reasons and those who are leaving for economic reasons. And you spoke to the U.S. ambassador to Panama about this, other State Department officials. And what you note is so important because you say that people migrate for overlapping reasons. It's usually not a binary option for so many of these people. And in terms of hearing from both candidates at the introduction of this piece, it really stood out to me that many of these migrants are well aware of the legal system here in terms of what they could encounter. And I'll quote from your piece. Many of the migrants I met in the Darien Gap knew which types of cases prevail in American immigration courts and which do not. They were prepared to emphasize whichever aspect of their story would be most likely to get their children to safety. I found that fascinating, Caitlin.
It is. One of the things that I focused on in my work and that was a priority for me in the Darien Gap was to look at the tools that the U.S. government has relied on again and again to respond to global migration. It grows each year. Right now, you have 1 in 69 people on the planet who are currently migrating from their homes, over 170 million people total. And, I've spent years looking at how we've responded to that, largely through deterrent policies. So policies put into place at the southern U.S. border, as well as by pressuring other nations, especially in Latin America, to crack down on their own immigration systems and basically try to stop people either before they leave home or en route to the United States. Another of these tools has been to distinguish between who qualifies under the law as a legitimate refugee or asylum seeker versus an economic migrant. But I felt it was important to convey in this piece that, again, years of experience has shown me that people have many reasons for which they're migrating, and they know the American immigration system. Our Congress has been stuck on this issue for years with no movement since the 90s, and in that time,